Welcome to I Wrote That, a podcast for entrepreneurs who are navigating the crazy world of authorship. Whether you're just starting out or already established, we want to help you navigate the publishing world with confidence. My name is Larissa Soehn, and this channel is brought to you by Next Page Publishing. With the help of our industry partners, we bring you the insights on the most challenging, yet most rewarding parts of being an authorpreneur, along with the actionable tips to help you move your brand and your business forward. Don't forget to download your free copy of our book, Author Your Way to Your Next 100K, by visiting nextpagepublishing.net/author-your-way. Let's meet our next guest. Welcome back to I Wrote That. My name is Larissa Soehn, and I am your host and the CEO of Next Page Publishing. And today I'm really excited we have Carisa Peters, who is a graduate of the Next Page Publishing programs and has been doing just amazing things since her book came out a couple of months ago. Carisa is a transformational life coach dedicated to helping individuals understand and reprogram the inherited patterns that keep them stuck. After 30 years of working and ultimately owning her family's printing and marketing business, she made the bold choice to leave it all behind and start over as a coach at the age of 48. Round of applause for that big move. She was able to do this by identifying and breaking free from the inherited programming and generational patterns that influenced her own life. Now, Carisa is passionate about empowering others to rewrite their stories, build intentional lives, and move from feeling limited to truly thriving in what they're doing and how they're living their lives. Her new book, Why Am I Like This? Here it is a guide for this work. And Carisa, when I'm going to add my own spin to your bio now that I've done the reading.
I love it.
Because I've spent a year with you, Carisa. I know you. I've watched you grow and I've watched you thrive. And this book is, your bio is based on the book. It all came through the book, who you are, how you serve, how you market, how you speak. It's all come through this book. So it's such an honor to have you here, Carisa. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I got chills just listening to you read that.
Yeah, and it's been an identity evolution for you going through this process. So why don't you just give us a little bit of the background, more background than your bio, and how did you end up, on this stage, on this platform today?
Man, it's like, my whole life, my father had a tendency to script life. He was trying to script it out. He wanted things to go this way and happen this way. And I thought that was supposed to be the same way, right? Like I need to script it out. I have to have it all figured out. And there was tremendous pressure that came with that. But man, where I am at today, after taking all these leaps of faith and trust in myself, I'm like, I'm not meant to script. I am not meant to script my life. I'm meant to flow with it, right? Like have my intuition, very open and high levels of awareness. And where am I meant to go? What am I meant to do? And this is just completely, it was foreign to me. And so to be in this place now, it just feels so, so right. And so, living a very rigid, this is what life consists of, getting up every day, going to this job and serving these clients and doing the same processes over and over and over again. I think that there was a part of me that just felt stunted creatively. I do think that I was created as a creative human being, and I just got into the monotony and boredom of a business that ran the same way year after year after year. Yes, there was new technologies and new challenges, but I just never felt like I was able to truly know who I was. So this journey, that I've, breaking away from everything that I knew and rebuilding myself from the ground up has been just so amazing. And I can't even express what it feels like to know you're in the right place, right where you're supposed to be. No question.
And knowing you, knowing yourself, but also me on the outside, knowing you, what a gift that you are giving to yourself and to your family and to the people that you serve, right? As a coach, you've really stepped into this role, because when we originally started talking, and even now you still call yourself, life coach Carisa, but you've really honed in on what it is that you do within that life span, life sphere, yes. I guess is the word, because generational trauma is something that is really, in a good way, trendy right now. We are talking about it, especially amongst women. We are talking about what is it that we inherited. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure inherited programming was something that we came up with during the book planning and writing process, correct?
Yeah, I after the fact, I went and was like researching it. And I was like, oh, okay, it is a term that has been used in other places, but it was not prevalent. And I even felt such pride of coming up with that, and it resonating with people, because that exactly captured what it is I wanted to talk about. Inherited programming. You weren't born this way. You did
Hmm.
not come out of the womb. Yes, we may have some traits, some things that were bestowed in our DNA and that comes through, but it's like a lot of these things when I work with women and I hear the words coming out of their mouth, the judgment and the things, I'm like, whose voice is that? Like that wasn't you. Who is that? Let's get curious about who that is. And we can usually look with curiosity and trace it back. It came from somewhere, right? It came from something someone said, an experience that we were exposed to. Like it was something that you inherited and you've just been carrying it. And we never stop and say, like, do I want to continue to be this way? Do I want to think this way, talk this way? Like, we're just too busy living on autopilot, right? So, yeah, change our programming. We can change our programming.
So much of it, I mean, when we started working together, you were a new coach, right? You've been coaching for what, about 2 years?
Yeah. Hmm.
About that. And you were nervous to sign on with this program, to admit that you were going to write a book. I know you've talked about it a lot. You never thought you would. This wasn't something that in your history, you were like, oh, I'm going to write a book one day. You
I
kind of
wanted
stumbled into
to,
it.
but didn't think I was capable. So I had my own stories, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah, you were running on stories of, it's going to take a lot of time, it's going to take a lot of energy, I don't have the skill. I mean, you struggled a lot with even the educational backgrounds and not having something, a significant piece of paper behind your name. Talk about that
Yes.
doubt coming into the program versus now.
It was just, I know this again in programming, right? It started very young. I remember being, I started working in this business as a toddler, getting little jobs given to me, and earning money at a very young age. And then managing people, hiring and firing by the age of 20. It was like tremendous pressure. So I had all this experience, but I never looked at it as valuable because I didn't have a formal traditional education. My parents did not talk heavily with me about pursuing a college route. If that would have been something I wanted, I think that they would have let me pursue that, but it was never discussed. And I always just knew I was going to work in the family business. And so we would constantly be faced with individuals sharing what's on their mind. And they'd be like, you didn't go to college? Just hearing that a few times, it feels like something's wrong. Like, what's wrong with you? Why didn't you go to college? And so from a very young age, from the moment I made that decision to go straight from high school into the business, that little programming was planted. I am not good enough because I didn't go to college. I didn't get this continued education. And so I can see where my whole life I belittled everything that I was actually in the trenches learning and doing. I mean, again, I remember the feelings of nervousness and sheer fear of having to fire somebody who was like 38 years old when I was 20. But again, I never looked at any of that as like, wow, that's really amazing. I was able to do that. It was like, I'm not good enough. I didn't get this big formal education. And so that just kind of kept me living small in every part of my life. I can't leave this business. I can't branch out and do something on my own. I don't have an education. Who's going to hire me? I'd never been on a job interview, right? I've never experienced that in my life. I've never had one. And so you have all this doubt, right? And when people say things and that gets implanted, you start to believe that story. So when it came to writing the book, the first thought was, how can I write a book? I didn't go to college, right? There it comes again. And then it was like, oh, wait a minute. What if I could write a book? And does it matter that I didn't? Maybe and then my thoughts would shift of like, well, maybe there's someone out there that would enjoy my book. And I just kept trying to build those bridge thoughts into believing that it was possible. Was thoroughly enjoying it, the journey. It didn't feel hard, like a really bad hard. It was like a good hard, right? It was just, I never would have imagined.
Yeah. I know we always have to take these moments when we're in the peaks and even in the valleys of our journey to really look at what it is that we're doing and celebrate it. And sometimes it's in spite of, right? I think we all have these stories that run in our head of reasons why we can't do something. And I have lately had this very big obsession with the ego. I think about the ego a lot. I think about how it rolls into our lives, how it fuels the way we hold conversations and in our relationships, and how it can hinder us from doing what we're doing. And you are one of those people who I have seen struggle with your ego and that internal voice, right? And it's just the voice is just trying to keep us safe, right? It's trying to, it doesn't want us to feel failure
uncomfortable
or suffer or get caught. But the ego is also fueled by other people's voices. And I think that is where your book is so powerful, and your journey in self-identifying your ego, the internal voices, who they belong to, is so, so powerful, because you have not let it stop you. Despite the fact that it's there, you have kept going, and you've looked it in the eyes more times than I can count. Carissa has definitely been one of those people where, as her coach, I was her coach during the writing process, and she'd take my feedback and I could see it hits her like a ton of bricks, right? Like it's almost like I threw a brick at her. And then she comes back the next week. She's like, nope, I listened. I hear what you're saying now, right? But what a cycle to watch. And you talk about this in your books too, the self-reflection piece of it. And you have self-reflection built into your book. So what is it that you're hoping your readers will get through picking up the book, and working through all of the goodness that you've put in there?
It is a very crucial piece, which is, if we don't see it and call it for what it is, we can't change it, right? So as soon as I started to recognize things for what they were, then I have more of this authority. I don't like this thing that's happening. I don't like this way that I'm showing up again and again and again. Now I can look at this and I can have some control over it to change it. But when you're living obliviously and just in autopilot and just being the way you're being, I would have people that I'd interact in my life, and they would say like, well, this is just the way I am. And I always was bothered by that, because I'm like, well, we should look at that. Do I like being this way? Am I recognizing that the way that I'm showing up in the world sometimes causes friction, right? And I'm kind of leaving a little trail behind me. And I can sit and say, well, this is just the way I am. But do I feel good about that? Do I feel good sometimes the way that I make people feel really terribly through my words and my actions and my facial expressions? Like, no, that's not how I want to be. Where did this come from? Oh, I can see exactly where this came from, right? So I think for me, the biggest thing that I want people to even recognize wherever they are on their journey is to have the awareness. What are the areas of friction that's coming up in my life? What are those exact things? Look at the exact scenarios. What role do I play in this? Because when the ego comes in, we don't want to look at any of that, how it's our fault. Right? It's not me, it's them. And in coaching, I ask people to own their own stuff, right? So I often say, like, maybe you need to look inside and internally and see what it is that you're doing. But and I also talk about how we can't control the feelings and emotions of others. But I do think that it's very healthy for us to look at how we're showing up in the world and recognize what kind of friction is around us in our relationships, our career, the relationship with ourself. Are we talking negatively to ourselves? So awareness is the biggest thing. I want them to have an easy read and learn through maybe the struggles and examples of others, because I think that that's a great way to learn sometimes. Like, their situation may not look exactly like mine, but they can say, oh, like, I see how she mapped all that out and what that showed her. I can see where there's something similar happening in my life. And then it makes sense to me. So awareness is the biggest thing I'm hoping that they will get from this.
Yeah, awareness and permission, right? And safety, honestly, too. Those three things come together so well, not just in your book, but in your brand. And we're going to take a really quick commercial break here. But when we come back, I want to talk about branding and the business side of things, because, you have a marketing background. And despite that, you have been tooth and nail hesitant and push back against the marketing side of things. So when we come back, we're going to dig into that, and we're going to talk about the current problem she's facing, which is not one that you would expect to hear from an entrepreneur saying, oh, this is a problem. So we'll be right back.
This season on I Wrote That, we're not just talking about books, we're giving them to you. My brand new book, Author Your Way, is finally here. And you can download it right now, completely free at booksunlimited.app. That's booksunlimited.app. Inside, you'll learn how to write a business-boosting book that builds your authority, attracts aligned clients, and grows your income without getting lost in the publishing chaos. And here's the bonus. I've included a powerful resource kit to help you plan and start your book. Just follow the instructions inside the book to unlock it. And while you're there, check out a growing library of free reads, business books, memoirs, fiction, self-help, and more. No paywalls, no subscriptions, just powerful stories and big ideas, freely shared by bold authors. Visit booksunlimited.app and download your next chapter, starting with Author Your Way.
Okay, we are back with Carisa Peters, who is a generational I messed that up. She's a transformational life coach dealing with generational trauma. There we go. Got to get the words in the right order.
A lot of big words.
There's a lot of big words, and they all flow so well together. Inherited programming, generational trauma. Why am I like this? So niche and so needed right now. But let's talk about the marketing and the business, because right before we started recording, I was telling you, we're connections on Facebook, and every time I see the colors teal and yellow come across my page, I know it's Carisa. Like, I don't even need to see the name, the content, the picture, anything. I know it's you. So you've created such a beautiful through line with your book. I mean, I know people listening to the podcast can't see the background of Carisa's office right now, but it's teal and yellow and different versions of those colors. And everything is so on brand with you, even down to the clothes you wear. So talk a little bit about the branding process of this book and how you envision the book fitting into your bigger business ecosystem.
Yeah, it's so interesting. As I was sharing before we went live, it's like I remember thinking about so many different parts of my former life, the different career that I was in and what it consisted of. And I would have things that frustrated me, but I've come full circle and I can have appreciation for all of those stepping stones along the way. So sometimes even if we think we're not on the ultimate path we're supposed to be on, it's like, trust that those are all stepping stones that are creating this version of you that's yet to maybe be seen. And so that's how I look at a lot of this. From a very young age, being involved in business, seeing a brand of a company, right? Originally, we had a franchise system, so we had to follow their branding to a T. It had to be their colors. It had to be the logo portrayed in a proper way. So all these things were just fundamentals that were, impressed upon me at a very young age, right? We couldn't go do something not quality with our logo because that would actually breach the contract with the franchise company we were with. So I can see where these seeds were planted. And then when we went independent, right, we created our own new brand. So I was a part of that, and it had its own colors and feel of it, and what our, signature emotion was that we promote with that brand. So it just was so easy for me. I think I actually enjoyed that part of the process of creating something of my own and just making it be something unlike anything I've ever had before. So I appreciate all those stepping stones that kind of helped me solidify what my brand was going to be. But now I just live it. It's like part of me. Yeah. Everything.
And I think that's a big part of the book is it's a celebration of you and your history. It's a recognition to your future clients and your readers and who's going to be coming into your world. But it's also the brand heart in a lot of ways, right? It needs to sit in the center of your business and be that beating thing that breathes life into all of the different components of what you do. And you've done that so beautifully, like right down to the graphics on the inside of the book match what's sitting behind you on your shelf right now. Like, you've done such a beautiful job of creating a through line between book and your other assets, your surroundings, and the book and you and the way you've done your branding are such a warm and supportive environment listening to you speak. And I know we've talked about this before. People are gravitated to your voice because you sound comfortable, if that is even a thing. But people want to sit next to you and they want to listen to you. And it's beautiful. My next question for you, like off camera, is like, when's your audiobook coming out? Because girl, you need it. Like this is what
I
people
know.
have thrived to. Okay, let's talk
Yeah.
about your problem. So when we
Yeah.
started working together, new coach, right? Not a lot of clients. And it was a stretch. Investing in this program, investing in the book, time and money wise was going to be a stretch. We knew that. And so throughout the program, we were focused on return on investment, right? We wanted to start getting you some money back before the book came out. So talk a little bit about the evolution of the selling identity, the businesswoman identity that you had throughout the program and our time together.
I just can't even tell you. And this kind of goes on to the question you asked me before that I didn't actually fully answer, the ecosystem of the book. But it's like, I never realized what that book was going to do for me. I already had there's always self-doubt, but I always had like a level of confidence. I think, I'm learning that healthy levels of ego, right? Trusting in myself, believing in myself, which was not something that I had before available to me. And now I do. So that book was like, it did so much for me that I didn't even expect to have happen. Like I just went to the next level on living it, feeling it, just holding this tangible body of work in my hand that I knew what I went through to create it. Actually, it's been in creation for 50 years of my life, right? It was the whole totality of my whole life was in this book. I can't even express to you what that did for me. It took someone who was already pretty confident in my coaching and knowing the value that I was going to be able to bring to people, just took it to a whole nother level because I was like, I can touch more people now than what I actually, as many hours as I want to work in a day, in a week, I can touch more people and I can help start to transform and have change within them. And I'm not actually necessarily working with them. And that just beautifully meshed in with my mission, which is to make a greater impact on the world. But because I don't want to build some big thriving enterprise or empire, I knew that it's going to be small. So that book gave me this piece that I hadn't even really thought about, how I can use that book to touch more people than what I can even work with in my one-on-one coaching. It was just beautiful how it just set me up to that next level.
Yeah. And that confidence translated into dollar value, right? I think it might have been about the halfway point. You might have been almost done writing your book and we looked at your prices and I challenged you to double them.
Yeah.
And what happened? What happened when that happened? When I challenged you?
I immediately got a client, like literally within days. And I've actually I never felt resentful with what I was charging before. But when you challenged me to do that, and I did believe in myself and the value that I was giving, something beautiful sort of transpired. It was just me settling in of like, just a different level of belief and intuitiveness started to come out of me. Like almost you charge less and in some subconscious way, you maybe don't tap into the depths of what you have that you're capable of. I get more in alignment with my program, outline and pricing. And I'm like, this whole new level of intuitive coaching like came out of me. Not because of pressure that I need to give them more, just something beautiful just happened all on its own. So as I've shared with you, I'm extremely grateful for you giving me that challenge, which I was resistant to at first. And then I let it sit and I did it. And I said, I am worth it. I do go above and beyond for my clients and I want them to see the change that they can, obtain for themselves. And I'm going to be committed. I am worthy of this. And then boom, this just different level of coaching unlocks in me. And it was amazing.
And I think that's such a powerful thing of what I'm gonna pump up next page for one quick second. I think it's such a powerful thing of the relationship between author and coach, right? Because I wouldn't have been able to recommend that if I didn't know you and your content so thoroughly. Like, because I could see from a long ways away the value that you were adding. And I mean, I was moved during our coaching sessions and through reading your book as a draft manuscript. I was like, man, this is good, right? And so when you finally told me the prices of your programs, I was like, what? What are you doing? No,
Yeah.
More, right? Value yourself for more. And you have seen, I'm going to call it a snowball effect at this point, right? We doubled your prices, you signed a client. What's happening now on the business side of things?
I continue to have clients coming to me. I'm not, I'm very consistent in my marketing and putting my message out there. But beyond that, I'm not, doing this extremely huge regimen of trying to bring new clients in. It's coming a lot from referrals, people that have now interacted with my book. And I will probably over double my sales this year, which is not something that I even thought was going to be possible. And it's not all about sales for me. I say this all the time. Like, yes, I need, income to live and to be able to, maintain a quality of life, but it's not about all that for me. Like, there is just something bigger that's running through me that's putting me in this place right now in time. But I have to tell you, it is a very rewarding feeling for somebody like me. I'm probably going to get emotional, but I had a strict belief that because my father and my mother were the ones that created that family business that I worked at for over 35 years, that it was impossible for me to create something myself. And that was a big battle for me. Should I just go work for someone else, even though I knew I had this entrepreneurial drive and spirit in me? And being now to be able to sit on the other side of that, 4 years into my journey of coaching and say, I created this. I am changing lives and I am touching people on a greater scale because now I have this book out in the world that can touch so many more people than just them being able to experience me one-on-one. So I can't tell you what that has done for me way beyond the finances, but just to solidify that final belief in myself that I was able to create this from scratch. All my blood, sweat, and tears created this, something that I really just thought I wasn't cut out for, that I wasn't capable of. And that is a gift that you can't put a price on.
No, you can't, right? That internal validation of who you are, everything you've gone through, and what you're worth, right?
Yeah.
I can tell you from the outside, I can tell you you're awesome. I can tell you should charge. I still think you should be charging more for what you're worth. I think that.
I know.
I can tell you that, you're going to have this huge impact. I can tell you all of these things, but if you don't believe it for yourself, it's not nearly as powerful. And I'm so honored, Carisa, to have been following you for the past year and being a part of your journey and pushing you in areas that I know you can grow in. And then I love every time I say something and I can see the hackles go up. Like, I don't want that. And then you come back the week later, you're like, okay, I want it. I did it. I did that thing you told me I should do. And I mean, what a client to have, right? And I talk about this in my own book, Author Your Way, about good coaches attract good clients. And Carisa, you are a good coach, and that means good people are going to be picking up your book and attracted to your energy. Again, that warmth, that comfort that you bring, it breeds a safe space to do that internal work. Because why am I like this? Generational trauma, inherited programming is not easy stuff to look at, right? And if we try and do it alone, it's almost all consuming and like you're being buried underwater. I mean, you even talk about the river of misery in your book, right? Like, you can drown in that middle section if you're doing it by yourself. And so, Carisa, thank you for everything that you've been doing in this world. We are going to wrap up here. I have one more question for you. Actually, I have two. How do people get a hold of you? All of the lovely things we've said, how can people find you?
Yeah. Easiest thing, lifecoachingwithcarissa.com, 1R, 1S. You can find everything about me there because I'm most active on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So that you can find those channels there. You'll find me on those under Life Coaching with Carissa. I also have a YouTube channel where I have over 200 videos now that I've created, little mini trainings about just different topics along my journey. And it's very interesting because you can see my evolution, right? From my very first videos to the ones that I'm creating now, how much I've changed and grown. But you can also, learn some things there on that channel as well. So probably my website is the most comprehensive place to just really learn everything about me and find all of the places where I'm available to be seen.
And we'll make sure we put all those in the show notes. And definitely, if nothing else, just go check out her branding, see the cohesiveness of it. I mean, the YouTube channel, the book, the backgrounds, her website, everything is so beautifully done from that perspective. All right, Chris, the last question. What advice do you have for aspiring authors?
Oh, I think it would be to let yourself believe that it could be possible for you, right? As soon as all those little sentences come up that start to stunt your progress or even considering it, I always ask myself the question, what could also be true? Right? I can't do this. I didn't have an education. What could also be true? It is possible. I could write a book that could help someone. Let that be your ability to keep moving forward. Yeah.
Failure is just as likely as success, right? And so often we default to, well, I could fail, so I probably shouldn't try. There's the other side. Turn to the other side and go, I could succeed. Wait, that feels a lot better on that side, right? And so I love that advice. Excellent. Thank you so much, Carissa. It's been an absolute pleasure to be your coach, your publisher, and your interview host today. Thanks for tuning in to I Wrote That. Don't forget to download your free copy of Author Your Way to kickstart your journey as an authorpreneur. You'll find the link in today's show notes. And if you enjoyed today's episode, we'd love for you to leave us a review. It helps more listeners like you discover the show. Until next time, happy writing.